What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is the 42nd episode. I've got a dear friend of mine from the Growth Co. She's been around for a while, and we've been kind of almost like missing each other for a little bit. So I've got Miri Cordano. Miri, why don't you kind of tell us who you are and kind of how you got into real estate investing in the first place?
Okay, well, who am I? So obviously I'm Miri Cordaro. Um, I am a mom, I am a grandma, I am everything in between, sister, wife, the whole shenanigan, everything. And they are really, my family is truly the most important things in my life. I That's the other my why, why I want to do things. So real estate is something, it's kind of funny. I am going to be 60 this month in March. So I've been around the block for a while, though I was stay-home mom for the majority of my marriage. I mean, really, actually, till my girls grown and left the house. I have still a son that he's much younger than my girls, graduating this year. But I was home with the kids. That was my choice. Loved every minute of it. I wouldn't even change it, but I always liked real estate. I'm not from this country, so my father used to be a builder back home, and I always was fascinated by real estate. So when I came to United States and got married, I thought I wanted to be a real estate agent. It's kind of every time I think about it, I'm laughing. I was like, I don't know, because that's what I thought. I thought real estate is all about agents, right? So I think a lot of people think that way still. So, but I decided not to do it because I stayed home with my kids and my husband his job took him all over the world. So, okay, well, I can't be gone all weekend when nobody's home, right, with the kids. So I've kind of forgot about it, put it in the back burner. And when my girls, I had three girls for a long time. I, they got older and finished high school, left the nest, and I said, okay, now what am I going to do? Um, I was like, what, only 50? So I need to do something in my life right now. It's my turn. So that's when I decided that I would explore real estate, but not agency. I wanted to be an investor. So I started with it's before actually Sub 2, before even Pace Morby created Sub 2. I started with a different group, got education through them, pretty good education. Don't really like the community, so I'm not part of that community. Um, so that's how I started. It's been a tough and rough for sure, but I'm still here. So
I agree, and I think to your point, I think a lot of people do think that being an agent is the only way to get into real estate. I remember when my girlfriend and I first met, that's what we were talking about. She was like, always wanted to be an agent. And she asked me, she's like, "Are you licensed?" And I was like, "No, I'm not licensed." She's like, "Well, do
mhm.
you need to be licensed?" I was like, "No, I don't need to be licensed."
All right. Yeah, well, that's people think that that's the only way to do real estate. Actually, as we know, I mean, maybe now less, we have a lot of agent that understand investors and wants to be investor too, but most of them didn't even really know much about investing anyway. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
So how did you find Sub Two, Pace, and then eventually Jesse?
Yeah, well, first of all, actually, I found Jesse first. Uh,
Interesting.
about 4 years ago, I think maybe Sub 2 was not even started because I think he was one of the very first people that joined. So I don't think we came from the same group. That's how we met the first time, a little bit over 4 years, and we connected. And then I kind of lost contact with him and reconnected when he left that group to got into Sub 2, and there was the Elephant Challenge. That's how I found him again. And since then, actually, it's been a handful of years that we kind of stuck around. I mean, kind of we did the elephant challenge together. I think it was a multifamily elephant challenge, not a single home. We were a bunch of people. We called ourselves what we did called ourselves is after a book. Gosh, something millionaires. What is that book? It's a great book. gosh, escaped my mind, but something millionaire. That's what the group we called ourselves. So, and then after that all done, we kind of most of our people that were in that group dispersed, and then I stayed when Jesse started, pivoting and creating Growth Co. I kind of stayed around and just helped behind the scene. That's what I still do. So
Seems like you enjoy it though, and y'all got a good crowd over there.
yeah, I think we have an amazing crowd, really, honestly. We have a very um, group of people that really truly want to help each other. I mean, I have not been in a group, and that was part of my struggle in real estate. It's like there's a lot of vultures, there's a lot of, cutthroat. I think it's in real estate as a whole. That's what I think. I think it's very typical for the
Right.
space, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah, not as much, definitely not as much within the communities because I think we've
Right.
built that and we've like isolated and filtered
Exactly.
those people down to where the percentage of vultures in whether we're talking about in sub two or in Growth Co or in, you
Mm-hmm.
know, even in
Gator,
Astro or in Gator,
you're right.
they do a really, really good job of not having those people in there. But
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna tell you probably half the people I've interviewed have been Growth Co people, including Jesse and Carlin.
I know, I know, I know. It's a definitely amazing group. I think it's because Jesse created this culture. It's that he really created it and kind of built it up. So people that are gravitated to that kind of environment kind of stuck around and they still. It's you'll hear people said it's definitely a family. So feel.
Yep. He was one of my first friends I made in sub two too. I just showed up to his Saturday Zoom, which was at the time it was called speed dating, and he was like, "How many people have showed up just because they thought they were gonna get matched with their forever?"
Yeah, no, you remember, so you went to one of those of his?
I went to he was calling them speed dating, and
No.
then for a while he was
Oh,
calling them friends with benefits, which was like a
you're
little bit more
right.
risque.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny because I knew that that's what he was calling it. I'm not really in sub two, purely because I didn't feel at the time reason to buy another, education. I had plenty, but I'm in Gator. However, I did know that that's what he was doing. I thought it was pretty funny, those
I'm
names.
not technically in Growth Co, but everybody that knows me assumes I'm in Growth Co because of how many people I know over there.
No, you're right. You're right. Well, I don't know that's all, but a lot of the people that come through our Growth Co are in the community, in one of the communities. So,
Yes, definitely.
so that's how it's all started. Yeah. Yeah, I love,
So then you got into real estate 10 years ago, but how'd you end up from looking at like real estate to now looking at insurance? Because those seem they're not diametrically opposed, right? But they
right.
are not necessarily parallel either.
No, you're right. Yes and no. And I'll explain that in a minute.
Right.
So this is why insurance was never even come to my mind ever. Like I didn't honestly, I didn't even know if we had life insurance or any kind of it because I just didn't know and this is where I'm getting to because I feel that um, we are not enough educated in finance world, period. I think it's not taught in school. We homeschool our children. In certain point, we pull them out of school and we try to give them more kind of real life education. I think we're very lacking, and I felt like even like 5 years ago, I had no idea about finance, nor did I really actually cared. It's like, I left it to my husband to make a decision, which I do think it's another no. I think we should really, especially women, not all women, but I think the majority don't really like to double in it, like whatever. So when I found myself, so real estate, of course, started. We focused on fix and flip. We had a really quite a bad. It wasn't a bad deal. It was a bad um, JV. So it went all sour and kind of took my husband out of of the real estate. And I've decided, okay, I need to educate myself. I almost felt like I jumped with 2 feet, but really not understanding a lot of the components. So when my friend told me about life insurance, I said, I'm not interested. She said, no, no, you have to understand this is a little bit different. I said, okay, well, tell me. So when I learned the specific one that we are using, I said, oh, okay, that's interesting. I would love to learn a little bit more. So I found myself at 60 years old, raising my kids, kind of in a financial pickle. I found out that we have term life insurance, and I'm sure most people knows term means it's going to finish. It had terms to it. It have 10, 20, 30. Ours is 30, which is not a very, there is a space for it, there's time for it, but it's really not beneficial if you wanted to rely on something, right? So I decided to dig and I said, okay, I really want to learn. I really want to learn. And what I've learned was actually blew my mind. It's like, wow, this is quite amazing. And we're going to talk about specific strategy, specific life insurance, because they're not all equally, and it really depends what you're doing. Specific for us as investor, I think it's a very applicable. So that's why I decided, okay, I want to learn more. I want to educate myself. I want to educate my kids. I want them to start in a better place so they know where they're heading, and to educate anybody that wants to learn. So that's how I didn't pivot. I just added it to my repertoire, if you say. I'm still in real estate. So
Right, but I always find that interesting, right? Like you said, you didn't pivot, you added it to your repertoire, but you had to almost like divert your attention for a little bit there. And
yes.
to most people, they would not consider those two things to be in line, even though, like you're saying, the specific application here, they're very much complementary.
Oh, yes, it is very complimentary, especially. So let's think about it in this way. People that wants to start in real estate, okay? And they'll tell you, oh, I don't have money, I don't have this, people think, they either have time, have money, they have resources, depends what they have. So with this specific strategy that we like to offer or introduce to people, especially real estate investors, is like, think about it like a house with foundation. Okay, you're never going to build a house with no foundation, right? It wouldn't stand. So we believe that IUL with the MPI strategy, which is Index Universal Life Insurance, yes, it have life insurance in it, but that's not the main focus. The premium to grow it in compound, it's actually infinite banking essentially, but this one is a little bit advanced. It's like we call it 2.0. So we like to introduce it as like your foundation, because if you grow that, because it's infinite banking, you can actually borrow against it for real estate investment. To if you're a lender, you can lend through it. You can buy business. You can do anything with it, and still your money is still growing and compounding. It's not like a bank. So let's say you have $100,000 in the bank, you took 50 out, what are you going to have left? 50, right? With this strategy, your 100% money still stay there. You actually leveraging. And I think, real estate investor understand leverage, right? That's what all we want to do, leverage other people, money, time, right? So this is just basically leveraging the insurance money. So that's why I think it's really goes together almost like gloves. It's really enhanced. So if people think they don't have and they want to build resources as finance, I think this is a wonderful place to start. Really good place to start. So
We did talk about it a long time ago on an episode with a buddy of mine, Garrett Wood, briefly, and because he's an entrepreneur with like 4 companies, but primarily how he's gotten into real estate was through IULs. But the way
good
he
example.
described it to me was kind of like you said, it's the only way that you can duplicate a dollar. And he used that same example. Like if you have
Exactly.
100 grand in the bank, but you take 50 out, then you only have 50 in. However, if I take 50 out of this policy or I borrow against the policy, I'm not removing from the cash value.
Exactly. You don't remove from the premium. And so he talks about duplicating. We even, Curtis Ray, he's behind the whole idea. He actually came out with idea how to triple. We call it triple dipping. So you literally can triple. And what I love about talking to young people, you guys have time. And time is money, and compound loves time. So starting young, and I'm so passionate. Even my son, Mom, you need to stop talking about it. So, not gonna happen. And we're starting one for him. He's gonna be 18. So think about it. When you know the options out there, you can make, better educated decision. So yeah, so I do love it. And I think it goes great with real estate. Absolutely. So
So what does that look like? Like, talk to me, I guess, like I've never heard of it before. What do you know, maybe I don't have a lot of money to spend, or maybe like I'm trying to figure out where do I even start as a new investor that's considering an IUL and MPI strategy.
okay. Well, everybody's different and everybody's goal is different. But if you're just typical investor that you want maybe to build some money to grow it, so you eventually you can use it for whatever venture you want, and you don't have a lump sum, what we call it, chunk of money just to park it. You don't. You're just starting. You're young. That's okay. What you do, you commit yourself for a monthly contribution, that's going to be your premium, because the idea is um, to fully funding it, meaning you're going to get a lower. Let's say you're going to get max $100,000 life insurance. It's not a lot, but when you're 18 and 20, that's plenty. Because we are banking that you're going to live for the next 30 years, right? That will grow in time, but you need the premium that you put every month to grow. So the first 2 years are the crucial ones. The more you put, the more eventually the insurance actually can match it to you. So what I see the problem in general, first of all, young people think that, they are invisible, like nothing going to happen to them. They have always time. Next time, next year, now, later, better time, better day. So I love that, to kind of educate people to learn to pay themselves first. Pay yourself first. I think it's a concept that we don't teach. Pay yourself first, because it's going to pay a dividend in the long run. Even just in 15 years, if you start at 20, you're going to like look back and say, wow, that's amazing. So that's how you start. You really start. And so that's okay if you don't have lump sum. So what happened is you're going to let it sit for a couple of years, because what compound does, it starts very slow. But when it takes off, it really shoots. And with the money that the insurance matches to what you have, it gives an even more boost. So it's even faster growing. So, that's okay. Not everybody have chunk of money to just dump. Some people do have it and they're sitting in the bank doing really nothing. The bank takes it and makes money on you. So why don't you be your own bank? So
What would you say though? Because I feel like a lot of those young people, they look at it like maybe my premiums or my contributions in which I can afford right now might be small. Like it might be $100 a month or whatever, and they think it's not valuable enough to start now. They'd rather start later.
well, so in general, we to start, you really think about your age time 10. That's what you want to start. Okay. So if you're 25, you want to start 250. Otherwise, it's not that you can't start it, it's just it's not funded enough. So you really want to start your age time 100, no, time 10, right? So that will give you a good start. Honestly, I think it's mindset. I absolutely believe it's a mindset, because I think if you make yourself understanding that that money, it's never there. It's not part of what you're spending. It just goes out every month. You will find a way to live with whatever left. I mean, I'm not talking about somebody that doesn't work. I mean, if you work, you just make it as a priority. And I think that's important. Now, of course, if you feel like you need to wait, you're going to wait. But what I'm saying is the younger that you start, the benefits of it's time. Time is amazing what it does. So you do have to, I would recommend always to start with your age time 10. So it's kind of like makes sense. Otherwise, you're not really funded enough to, because in those index life insurance, we try to build it in a way that we protect the customer. We want you to succeed. We want you to grow it. So you can have enough money to use it to whatever you want. Now, the other people open one purely for, retirement, which is another one that you can. And it's really quite amazing because traditional retirement, like 401k, they're really not retirement money. They're not really a retirement account because really there's not enough money there to retire. You know how many people get to 60 and they look at their retirement amount, and I don't know, have you ever heard about the 4% rule?
No, can you explain it?
Yeah, absolutely. So in traditional retirement, when people have 401k, IRA, even in Roth IRA, which is already taxed, but most people don't have it. Most people don't have Roth IRAs, but they have more than 401k. So you have a lot of restriction. First of all, you can't pull any money before 59 and a half. You have, so they take your money and they look at it. Let's say you have, which is very rare. It's very little people that have $1 million in that account. So was 4% of million? Do you know?
Yeah, it's like 40.
Yeah, 40. So
Yeah.
think about it. So they want you because they need to, now we live longer. So they need to spread that money for 30 years, right? So they want you to take only 4%. So think about it. Now you're getting $40,000 a year before tax. Is that looking very appealing retirement for you?
You don't even have to know what the tax rate to know that that's not appealing.
Not at all. First of all, I don't really like anything with tax deferred because I don't know what the tax is going to do. We know it's not going to go down for sure. So people look at it and they say, wow, I used to make double in that. Now I'm going to have to learn to live on fraction. Of course, people have, what is that in old days? What is it you get from
Like pensions?
no, well, some if you have pension, a lot of people pension is almost doesn't exist. There is some places you can get pension, but uh, no, we take it out every month from our paycheck. Gosh, I forgot the word.
Social Security.
Social Security. So so that helps, but really it's not a retirement that you would dream about. You want to have people want to have 100,000 maybe coming every year so they can, now they want to travel, they want to do things, they want to enjoy life. They don't want to shrink their life because now they're retired. It's the opposite. So that's the
Right.
4%.
That
That's
40 grand a year is probably going to be like 3 grand a month by the time you're done with the taxes. And then you might get that Social Security, but that's like 1,200 a month extras.
can you
So
believe
you're just
it?
bouncing up and down above, you know, call it 4 grand a month, 5 grand if you're lucky. And that's probably if your spouse gets social too.
Yes, and it's less because if you get social, that's not going to be much. And
Right.
on top of it, I've noticed from talking to a lot of people, there used to be in old days that by the time you got to retirement, your house was paid. Now, in these days, people still owe quite a bit. Their mortgage is pretty big still.
That's
So,
a really good point. They got better returns because of the pensions, because pensions were way more common back then.
right,
Now, for the most part, you have to have a government job to get a pension.
exactly.
Their houses were paid off, their cars were paid off. The cars actually lasted longer, so you
Mhm.
didn't have to buy a new car every 3 years.
Exactly. So everything works actually against you, honestly. Bottom
Yeah.
line, you need to prepare. So one of the things that we have customer that we build the IUL for them for really actually retirement. So what we do, we reverse engineer it. What I mean by that, I'll come to you and I'll say, Adam, how old are you? 30, let's assume 30 or 25, whatever. I said, okay, what would you think you would like to earn? Well, okay, when you want to retire, when I say retired, I don't mean you're going to go on the beach and do nothing. I mean, you have enough coming in without you working that pays all your expenses, you're comfortable, but now you can do it whatever you want. When would you like for that to happen? I'm asking you, what would you say, for example? What age?
I'd say I'm 32 now, probably about like 65.
Okay, fair enough. 65. How much you would like to take, how much you would like to get in income at that time, every month, without worrying, how much you would like to?
Probably call it 10.
Okay, that's awesome. Now think about it. With IUL, it's tax-free, which is an awesome thing. And with that, because it lives in the insurance world, it doesn't even shows as an income to the world, to the government, to the IRA, whatever, everybody that wants to take piece of it. It's pure 10,000 every month. So, okay, well, that's awesome goal. Now let's let's back up and see, okay, how much do you need right now, Adam, to contribute to your policy with all those extra that we're going to do to get there? So you can get at 65. Some people start early, said, well, I want to get 10,000 at 55. So, okay. So you will sacrifice a little bit right now, of course, because you might need to put more than you would like to. Because,
Hmm.
really, honestly, what I find out, people say, oh, I can't afford it. It's because they just don't want to, because it's not a priority. Not because they really cannot afford it. It's because that's not my priority right now. Okay.
Hmm.
But if I show you that it can be done and in 65 you get, and what else is, you can get it, and it's good. It can take you all the way till you die. Is that, I think that's amazing. And
Yeah.
traditional, and not only that it's taxed and you have to take only 4%, it's actually really built for 30 years. So think about it. What if you live another, people are actually worried that they outlive their retirement. And I'm talking about $1 million. Most people don't have $1 million. Actually, the average is 200,000. Now think about 44% of 200,000. It's
Yeah.
nothing. It's
It's
nothing.
dismal is what it is, like 5 grand.
It's like nothing. It's like, wow. That's why people actually needs to go, and it's nothing wrong about working part-time when you're older. That's nothing wrong, inherently wrong with it. But you wanna choose what you want to do, right?
Well, then I'm sure you can speak to this. Like, you're a grandmother. I'm sure if whether your kids and grandkids live close, wouldn't you want to be spending time with them
Absolutely.
and not at your part-time W-2?
No, absolutely. I agree with you 100 times. Yeah. And
Or worst case, you might even be in a full-time W-2 at 60 because you really can't afford to
yeah,
get by.
exactly. You have still mortgage, you have still expenses, and and I think the idea behind all that, my opinion, it's like, and a lot of financial advisors will tell you, oh, well, you just need to uh, what do you call it? It's like shrink your life, your house is too big, so make it a little smaller. It's like, why?
I was gonna say, you mean like the Dave Ramsey, like give up your lattes, don't drink your
Yeah, just
coffee every day.
exactly. Just, this is the time I want to do whatever I want to do with whoever I want to do, anytime I want to do. So, you're working for 40 years for like peanuts. This is just doesn't work. We know that. It's really known that the traditional retirement doesn't work. It doesn't work. So people need to figure out other options, you know? So that's why I love the IUL. That's why I want to educate people to just check it out, educate yourself, and see what how does it look like. Yeah, so I started with my kids, and I already have one who's already almost a year into it. She's young. She's gonna forget about it for a couple of years, and then she can start doing, whatever she wants to do with it. And I'm trying to get all of them one by one. So,
Why don't you go into the concept that you mentioned earlier about triple dipping? Like, what does that look like? We talked about duplicating a
sure.
dollar, right? And duplicating is
Yes,
already powerful in and of
amazing, right?
itself. Right.
So when you duplicate is the leverage that you get inside. There's a leverage inside the IUL that builds in from the matching of the life insurance itself. They'll make still 5%, but traditionally, if we look back in 2 decades, there is about 6 to almost sometimes 10% that can be made inside of it. So you make the difference. So if the insurance make 5 and there is 6%, you make the 1% of money that it's not even yours, or 2% or 3. So that's a double. That's you're really doubling. And of course, compound. I know a lot of people understand what compound, they don't really understand how it actually works. Every 7 years, almost always every 7 to 10 years, your actually cash value will double itself just by compounding. So the triple dipping is when you borrow and take it out and put it in real estate and make 20% and then you have bunch of cash that you're making. It may be a fix a flip, maybe you're lending for like an extra 10%. You take that and then you can dump it back as a new premium. So you see how it is, it's just even growing faster. It's like mushrooms. It's like you feed it. So it's just, again, it slows in the first couple of years and then it truly takes off.
That
So,
was one of the things that we talked about with Garrett. Not this was actually with his IRA that he couldn't touch till
mhm,
59 and a half, but because it was self-directed, he just found one person he liked that was a really, really good bird dog for him. And
mhm,
he's been making roughly 20% to 22% on his money every quarter.
okay.
So, you
So
know,
think about it. So if it's already compounding here and you do the same thing outside of it, because you borrow, and as we said, it still stay up here the same amount. That's your triple dipping. That's the third way that you can make money. And yeah, I honestly, I don't know if there's anything as good as this. And I think it's a good foundation for somebody who's just starting. If people already have money that they're just coming in and out, in and out. Why not? Why not have it in some place that it's secure? And what I love about the IUL, so there is a lot of good elements. So we have the floor. I don't know if you realize that. The IUL is not in the stock market. It grows beside by side the stock market. Meaning, let's say, was it, I think about, what was it, 4 years ago? It kind of had a big dip. I mean, 20, 30% people left. The stock market dipped. I know that because a friend of mine kind of had 100 and something thousand and went to like 70,000 overnight. So when your money sits in the IUL, when the stock market dips, you just don't lose anything. It's like a staircase, like when you go up, straight up, straight up. So what happened is your money is secure. So that year you might not make, but heck, you didn't lose. Because what happened is with the stock market, one of the things, yes, can you make money in the stock market? Absolutely. But what happened is all those dips, it goes spike up, down, up, down. You have that gap that not only you can't compound in it, you have to catch up. And sometimes it takes 7 years. I think 2008, I think somebody told me it took between 7 to 13 years to people to catch up to what they lost. So it's not only you're losing this time and the compounding and growing it, you actually need 7 years just to catch up.
And actually, that's one of my favorite books is The Compound Effect because in there they tell that story of the um the penny, right?
Oh,
Would you
the penny.
take the
Okay.
yeah, would you take the doubling penny for 30 days or would you take the
Mhm.
$5 million?
You're right. I
And
know there is a story,
the
another story with the rice. Go ahead.
well, I think we read that story with the rice. Is that the one with the chessboard?
No, actually, I don't know. You ever read the book, The Lost? I don't have it next to me. It's by my bed. The Lost Art of Compound Interest. Because Albert Einstein said that the compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. The
Yes.
one that knows, understand it, earns it. The one that doesn't, lose it. So if
Interesting fact for you, by the way. If you ask ChatGPT about compound interest and you ask it to compound something for like a year, doubling every day,
yeah,
it will actually tell you it will run out of currency.
I'm
Like you'll
sure
run
you
out of
would.
currency before you run out of compounding. And so for those of you that don't know, in the compound effect,
Mhm.
which has been a book I read probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I always go back and reread it.
Awesome.
Um, there's the story of the penny, and what the question that they pose is like, "Hey Miri, if I have $5 million cash for you, or a penny that doubles every single day for 30 days,
What would you
would you
take?
take? Which one would you take?" And the 5 million seems to be the obvious answer to
Right.
most people because
Hmm.
it's just a penny, and a penny that doubles is two pennies, and two pennies that doubles is four pennies. And
I know.
to your point, the compounding starts out super, super slow.
Mm-hmm.
But you go from, 1 cent to 2 cents to 4 cents to 8 cents. Before you know it, you're at 64 cents. Before you know it, you're at a dollar, three
Hundreds
dollars,
and
five
thousands of
dollars.
cents. You're right.
And the moral of the story is that you don't really catch up until it's like day 27, 28, 29. Like at the very tail end of that. But before you know it, you're at over $5 million. I think it was like 5.1 or 5.2
Yeah.
at the end of 30 days.
No, you're right. So in the book that Curtis Ray wrote, The Lost Art of the Compound Interest, he tells a story about a girl that she's going behind this elephant that they taking rice to this community, and the rice keeps falling. So she picks up all the rice one by one, and one of the authority there tells her, "Hey." They took her to the king because she was stealing the rice. She said, "No, I wasn't. I'm not stealing the rice. I want to pick it up to give it back." So the king says to her, "Why? Oh, that was very sweet of you. I wanted to reward you. What would you like?" She said, "I want just 1 grain of rice." He said, "Only 1 grain of rice?" He said, "Yes, and I want you to double it every day for me." So it's the same story. In the end of the story, you know what happened? His all the king reserve rooms for rice were cleaned. There was no rice left. And he thought, he was like, at the beginning, it's like, but halfway through, he kind of like, what's going on here? That doesn't make sense, right? But she cleaned them up and she told him, "I'll give you some rice back if you promise me that you can use only what you need." So there was a different moral to the story, but it was the same thing. By the
We
end
had read a
of
book
the
like
day.
that in school, and it was almost identical. The difference was that he used a chessboard. And
Okay,
so he said, for every square on the chessboard, which is 64 squares, we're going
okay.
to put 1 grain of rice, and for every square we move, it doubles.
Oh,
And
wow.
so by the end, it was pretty much the same moral of the story. Like by the end, he cleaned out the reserves and he said, "No, I'll give it all back to you, but take what you need." You
Exactly.
know,
Isn't it amazing? Now, of course, our money does not double every day, but the whole account will double every 7 to 10 years. So
no, I was going to say you'd be shut down by the SEC if your money doubled every day.
I know, can you imagine? Wow, that would be awesome.
I've
But
seen like crypto funds that do that, and same thing. It's like they compound daily, but they earn like say 1.2% daily or something like that, or 2% or 3%. But all of them have such a short run. You literally put a little bit of money in, and then if you're lucky, the SEC hasn't shut them down.
yeah, well, that's gambling, right? So
Right, which is why we don't do it.
yeah, exactly. And that's see, this is what interesting in regular compound is that you really needs to be patient, and then the first couple of years look like it's not moving, but you're not losing either. It's just like what is it? My money's not doing anything. By the time you hit the third, fourth year, and then you have the matching, it's really take off. By the fifth year, it's like fire, really goes up. And so that's why trying, starting early, it's a huge benefit. So,
So I
and
guess, like you said, if you can really fund heavily in those first 2 years
oh, you're
by
right.
3 and 4.
No, you're right. You're right. If you have the option to do that, instead of saying, "Oh, I'll keep it in my bank account for emergency," that can use it for emergency. If you have a chunk of money, the best, the more you front load it in the beginning, that's what's going to take it off faster. Of course, that's what you want. So that's yeah. So that's and I think it's again, so that's why I think in reality, it's great strategy. I've been talking to a lot of investors, and now I don't know if you know, um, Pace Morby did. He kind of have a deal with Curtis Ray, and now they're teaching you in sub two.
Hmm.
So you can go to the vault. It started last week. He's going to teach 12. Well, it's going to be 11, and the last one will be a Q&A. It's Curtis himself teaching 12 executive Thursday, all about the IUL. Like really break it down. And here we don't have time, but literally, like last week he started it. And I would highly recommend to anybody just to go listen. And
I'll have to look and see if he's turning it into a semester, because that's been
he did.
something
It's in
nice.
semester. If you go to the semester, I know I'm in Gator, so it's under the semester classes. So we have one that it was 2 weeks ago. There's just a general kind of explaining, and now he's really actually kind of going through what's the difference between whole life and IUL. What's the benefits? What's the, because a lot of people have actually whole life insurance, and
Yeah. That's
it's
what I had a while ago, was whole
okay.
life.
So there's a lot of if you really want to use it for real estate specifically, whole life insurance doesn't work very well.
Yep, you're right. I'm in the sub 2 vault right now, or the
Yeah,
semesters
you
vault
saw
right
that.
now,
Mhm.
and
So tomorrow
they
it's
have
30.
started the infinite banking 2.0.
Yes. Mhm.
So,
And he will tell, he said it last week, he's already working on 3.0. I'm not sure what he's adding that can make it even better. But so I'm an agent, and I do the MPI through Curtis Ray, because it's the only place that you can do that specifically through him. So we have to be trained under them. So and as well, we help people to look at their current. That's what he did with the Pace. If you watch it, you'll see Pace shows he had a different whole life, only a year old one that he dissolved actually, and starting the IUL now for him and his wife and his children. So because it makes better sense. So yeah, I would watch it, because it's really very, very thorough. You really can understand all the element, because it really does sounds to be too good to be true. People will tell you that doesn't make sense. You can't have this and this. And there is things that are not perfect, because no insurance is perfect. But um,
yeah, but it seems like it really covers all of your bases, and kind of like you're saying with the triple dipping, that's why I imagine the 3.0 would involve some form of like cash flow producing
yeah, something else.
assets.
I'm dying to. He haven't told us what he's working on. He's pretty, he's pretty busy. But just so you know that the whole concept of MPI, it's not. He didn't invent it. It's actually was used by very wealthy people, but using banking system. Okay, because they had so much liquidity, millions of liquidity. So the bank was allowing that process and growing their money and leveraging because, they had tons of asset, against it. It was collaterals. So what he did, he just took the whole concept and brought it to everyday people so they can enjoy that too. So
Sounds like it's a real winner, and like I said, that's why I can only imagine as Curtis begins to add more evolutions to it that it's only going to get better and better. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. So the thing is, and he mentions it actually, where did I read it? I think in his book, he talks about, how people, um, so people that lived long enough, they just don't like to change, right? They don't want change. They will say, well, that's how we always did it. Well, heck, what does that mean? Things are get evolved, things get better. You want to be on top of it. So, yes, so maybe something worked 20 years ago, but now we have a better product. Why not use that? Why not educate yourself? See what's other options instead of like, no, that's all. We always did that. It's like with the 401k and the IRA, it's like it's all really not meant to be for retirement because the way it works. So when you're young, they put it in the market and it goes up, down, you win, you lose. And then towards your retirement, they put him in a, what is those? They're not stock bonds. So the bonds are very slow. They don't even move much, right? But they want to
they don't
protect your
move
money.
hardly at all. They don't move to beat the inflation that the government creates. So it's like,
No,
what's the
go
point?
ahead. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't beat inflation. So think about it. So you are in the market, up and down, losing, gaining, and then towards your 10 years before you're retiring, they move that money to bonds so you won't lose because now you close. Can you imagine being close to retirement and lost half of your retirement money? That was already not very big.
Dude, I can't begin to imagine like kind of like you're saying, I feel like we've kind of pegged at this, right? That like this is a much bigger issue, but I don't think it can be properly stated
Mhm.
how much of an issue this is right now.
It really is. It's a huge issue.
Like, and it's not just because of lifestyle changes, it's not just because the cost of goods have gone up, it's not just because of planned obsolescence or inflation. It's the compounding effect of all of those things combined. And then, like you said, longer life expectancies. You might try to retire at 65. Well, if you live to 88 instead of 75, that's a long time.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know. Like you said, I'm 32. I might live to be 105. I don't know.
You
We never
could
know.
very well.
There's there's no telling.
You're right.
But if that's the case, then that means I got to make all that money last for a really, really long time.
You're right.
And chances are, by the time we get there, who knows?
It's
You might be spending $1 million for a loaf of bread. Like we don't know.
You're right. And then the other thing is as a mom today, I think the best thing I can give my children, not only the knowledge that will create it for them better future, is I want to take care of myself so they don't have to take care of me. I mean, listen, I have a mom that she doesn't live here in the country, but she's on my mind all the time because she's doesn't have enough. So I would like, to me, I think the best present I can give to my children is taking care of myself. I don't have to worry about mom. She's doing great. She can take care of herself. We don't need to worry about that.
I will
So
say that taking care of a loved one is not for the faint of heart.
no, it's not. I have my mother-in-law living with me for 8 years now. Trust me, I know that firsthand. So,
Yeah, I took care of my grandfather, and
okay.
I will say that it takes a toll on the soul for sure.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, and I think we should be there for our family. I do believe that that's how it should be. But as you said, not everybody physically, mentally, financially can do that. It's hard. It's not easy. You know.
Yeah, like like I said, it's not made for the faint of heart. That is for
No,
damn sure.
that's for sure.
It'll strain whatever relationship you have with your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know that. I've been living, I lived, my mother-in-law lived with me twice. In the very, very, very beginning of my marriage, and in, now after my kids are left, you know? So it's a tough place
Yep.
to be. Yeah. So if we can create and educate people that they can do better, but it's a choice. It really is a choice. I tell people, like I talk to people that I'm very close to. Oh, but no, but you need to choose. It's everything is a choice. And the better choices that we make now, your future self will thank you. We'll say, wow, look back just 20 years. We're not talking about 100 years, we're talking about 20 years. Because time flies. You're 32, before you know it, you're going to be 50, I promise you. I have no
Yeah.
idea where those 60 years went. I can't even believe I'm 60. I don't feel like 60, don't get me wrong, but I'm 60 in a week and a half. So, but you do your best, but you want to, and I'm definitely know where I want it to be, because, we obviously had some good decision, but it wasn't enough margin for us to, now that we lost some money, so we have to make up for it, you know? And
Yep. Well,
it's
and like you said before the recording, like it's fine to make the mistakes when you're young. You can learn. You can get your bumps, your bruises, your scrapes, so you can pick yourself
absolutely.
back up.
Mhm.
You know.
Absolutely. And I tell my kids, make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistake. You're young. Just learn from them and then grow from there and make good, solid decision. To me, honestly, Adam, if you make one good decision like this to start something like that, even if you make 100, I think little mistakes, it will pay off. Totally will pay off. So I think it's absolutely worth investigating and learning. So, but we are a
Well,
creature of habits. So
I think truthfully too, Mary, I think a lot of them underestimate how many good decisions you need to win. It's not a lot,
no,
you know?
absolutely.
You only need one person to say yes when you ask them to marry you,
You're right.
you know?
You're right. You're absolutely. And if you think about it, so true. I love that. I love that example. You don't need 20 people to say yes to you, right? But it's so true in everything in life. You are one away for one decision that can change your life. You are one way of away, one relationship away to have the best relationship. You know what I mean? You don't know where it
Mhm.
is, but we think it's like just like somewhere like in 20. No, it's not. It's not. It's just if you educate yourself and you keep your mind open and really be open to grow and change and have a different mindset. I think mindset is big. It's big. That's what I think holds people so much. Listen, I'm 60 and I am loving everything that I'm trying. So I just love it. It's like, why not? Let's try it all. So, but you're right. Make
Well,
good decision. I
what
think
is something that you would tell those people that are having those mindset issues right now? Maybe they're just worried that they're too young, or they don't need it right now. Maybe they don't think they have enough money. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe they just don't think they need it. What would you say?
that's a good question. Very good question. I don't, it's really hard. Um, what I would say to people is really kind of search inside what they're really trying to achieve. Because planning ahead, it's not meaning that some people, I think, young people thinking, oh, your plan is so rigid, it's so hard. I don't want to. I want to live just life. You know what I mean? They just want to be
Yeah.
so I think that's part of the problem. But I think if you try to, how would I put it? Just think really deep in yourself and search, where would you want to be in 20 years? That doesn't affect much of your life right now. You're still enjoying life. I mean, I'm not suggesting that people need to be, not enjoying life, not taking vacation. That's not even what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to take more control on your financial in a way that you're responsible. So yes, it takes mindset. It's something that maybe people need to just educate yourself and see what other people. I like to look at people that are successful in something and just watch what they're doing, what they did right that I can glean from, and maybe I can implement. Yes, it's lovely to live by the moment, but we know it's those moments are very short-lived, you know? So if we can combine both with a little bit of wisdom and think, okay, I want to enjoy my life. I can definitely reward myself, but I want to make something that will last me for the next 20 years. That when I be 40 or 45, I can look back and say, oh gosh, I'm so happy I have that, because then I have more freedom. I can make different decisions. Even if I made some mistake along the way, I do have something to fall back on. And I know it's part of maturity. It's part of if you want to grow and learn more and just open your mind. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I try.
Well, and you mentioned education. Do you have resources that you recommend for people that are maybe just thinking about
Mhm.
this or dabbling in it?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, if people reach out to me, I can send them a link to two wonderful books that Curtis Ray actually literally wrote. One of them, I don't know if I have it here. It's called, you want to hear what's the first name of the first one? Everybody Ends Up Poor. Isn't that amazing
Mm.
title? He really, and he explains why. So that's kind of opens your mind. And then the other book that he wrote is the Lost Art of the Compound Interest. It's a little bit more mechanic, but even though I don't like really technical books, but it really blows my mind. It's just really breaks it down why people think that they are playing in the market, it's compounding. It's not, because if you are in a program that your money can lose, you can't compound fast enough. It have to have a flat floor for it to bounce. But if you lose, you're already not compounding. It's just there is this, it's really the dynamic. It's quite phenomenal. And he wrote two books, and it's one of them is Everybody Ends Up Poor, and if people DM me, I can send them the link. It's fabulous. It's really is great resources to understand.
I was gonna say, I'm guessing those aren't on Amazon, huh?
No, I think they are. I think you can buy them. Yeah, you can. But we can give the audio book, and I think Curtis Ray as well gives them at the group. When you listen, he'll tell you you can get those books. I think those are great resources. It really kind of explains the traditional way of retirement money versus what he's offering. So that's what I like.
Yeah, so those would be your top two books. I'm guessing Curtis
Yeah.
probably has
Mhm.
his own resources like on
And
YouTube and
there's
so
lots
forth and
of
stuff.
books. There's a lot of books on I actually have there's other ones that my friend actually read. I don't have them because I usually I mean I those two books I read and I really thoroughly enjoy them and really gives me so much understanding. And it just gives you a very good what does that mean? What's the difference? Because people say, yeah, when you're in a company and the company matches, oh, it's free money. Yeah, it's okay. You have that. That's awesome. Keep that there. Just do as minimum as you can and just build something else outside that is secure, that have a floor, that you compound. It's tax free. You don't have any limitation in the amount you can put. So there's so much great stuff. That's what makes it grow faster. So why not do that? You can do both, nothing wrong with that. If you already have company that's, matches, because that's how company get people and say, oh, it's a free money. Well, first of all, nothing is free, as we know. But
Hmm.
just, education. I think educating. I've learned that even as a stay-at-home mom, I should have educated myself more in finance than I ever was. And so that's why we do podcasts every Monday at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. Caroline, my friend, and myself, and we bring other resources, a lot of real estate, around real estate and money. Just, people don't like to talk, family don't like to talk about money.
No, well, and I think when you can lay out the numbers, that's what really makes it make sense, right? Like you were saying, like I'm 32, for the sake of this, I'm 30 to make the
Mhm.
numbers
Yeah.
even.
Mm-hmm.
So my age times 10 is 300. So that's
Mm-hmm.
300 a month. 300 a month times 12 is 3,600 a year. That's not a lot of money. Like that's a side
No,
hustle.
it is. It's really not. It's really
And
not. So if you don't
don't
have
get
a
me wrong, like everybody has different spots where they're at, right? So like I'm sure that 300 a month could,
bit
in the
tight
short term, it could impact maybe your grocery budget or your entertainment budget or whatever. But like I said, if you just replace that
with something.
with a
Mm-hmm.
little side hustle, maybe you have something that pays you a little bit of cash flow even, right? We're talking real estate. What
Mm-hmm.
if you just get one property that cash flows more than 300 bucks a month?
Exactly. No, absolutely. You have to be just creative, really creative. But I do find, and again, not everybody, but I do find that people, it's really what they prioritize. It's priority problem. It really is.
Hmm.
Sometimes we find money with people that they didn't think they had it there because they don't and again, you don't need to be like I can't be like that either. I never wanted to be like that, like the pennies, you count your pennies. No, that's not what I'm talking about. But just prioritize you. And what's
Hmm.
better than think about yourself? It's almost like selfish, but that's a good one. Just pay yourself first. And everything that left is to live life, whatever you need. You can find out how to spend less money. It's not hard. It's really not. So I actually, especially when people work, like I can't afford it. I say, yeah, you keep saying that you definitely not going to be able to afford anything. It's like that's
Right.
the deal, you know. You just need to actually think abundantly, how can I make it work? And you find a way because you're willing to, you know. So
Right. It's not if I can afford this, it's how can I afford
how can I
this?
afford it? Exactly. And then you know what? It's like anything else. Like even in real estate. When people, oh, I don't have this. Oh, so down on themselves. And like, no, let's reframe. Let's reframe everything. How can I? Who do I know they need my maybe expertise? Maybe I have time, knowledge, they have the money. How can I piggyback on that? And we can both make money. You know what I mean? So be creative,
Hmm.
open your mind. Um, think, I don't even say box. Don't have a box, just think. And that's the power of you know how I love what Jesse says, be resourceful. That's
Hmm.
being people that are resourceful are very successful. Doesn't mean they have everything. They're just resourceful.
Hmm.
They know what they're good at. They stay in the lane and they delegate and find everything else. And everybody
I
wins.
think that's been the frustrating part for me coming from more of a small business background, like having done trade and commerce and logistics
Okay.
before real estate. Like
Hmm.
those domains are much, much more difficult to scale in.
Yeah.
There's so much less margin. There's so like you really kind of get your teeth kicked in a lot of
Mhm.
ways daily. Not every once in a while, not like once every 3 months. It's like no, it is a grind daily.
Wow.
And so to your point, when you come into the communities and people are like, "Oh my God, the sky is falling down and everything is crashing, and I don't know, I just don't know what to do or where to go or what to do with my hand." And you're just like, "Bro, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're not dying. I promise."
Exactly. And I like this is actually Jesse's, I think his Bible, you know. It's like, no. let's be resourceful. Find the right people to work with. Like people start, I told you I'm behind the scenes. So one of the things that I do, I approve people to our group, right? I ask them questions. I find out where they are, when they need help, maybe we can, give them any kind of resource. And I hear so many stories. It's kind of fascinating, actually. It's like
Hmm.
I'm like behind the scene listening to everybody, and everybody tells me all their story, and just people just get stuck. They're just really stuck in their mind.
Hmm.
It's nothing else. It's their mind is stuck. It's like, no, just get out of the muck. Put your head out and start looking out and around, and you'll find people that can use your resource, and you can find somebody else that can do. And that's what I love. That's what Jesse teaches. This is his main, because you can't scale. Otherwise, it's not scalable. People tell me, oh, I'm wholesaling. All right. How does that look like? They do everything.
Hmm.
They do everything. They pull list and they call and they try to close and they try to find a buyer. It's like, oh my gosh, I said, just hearing them, I just want to die. I'm already
Hmm.
overwhelmed. I said, well, this is tough. This is not scalable. It's not sustainable, that alone, not scalable. I said, you want to wholesaling, then find a team that already working and you plug yourself where you're good at and where they need maybe, and learn the rope. And don't just do it all by yourself.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's what kills me is you find the opportunities, and usually what ends up happening is you can quantify it and see that the hurdle you have to get over is so small in comparison to the opportunity that exists. Like in this case with an IUL, an MPI strategy, it might be 300 bucks a month, or in my case, it'd be like, but 320 bucks a month would be what you'd recommend I fund it with, right? But is 320 bucks a month really worth missing out on? I mean, what that policy is worth, which is, I mean, what do you think that's worth? 10x, 100x? Like, we don't know. What's
I don't
time will
know.
tell,
That,
right?
well, because it's really depends because you're going to change in time. Hopefully you make more money and you can put more money and it's like fire. So it's really what's important to a person, really is.
Right. But you see what I mean? Like, I
Mhm.
had the same thing with somebody that offered that, we're in real estate, we see a lot of the business funding. People
Yeah.
will help you like create your entity for lending. And in this case, the guy charges, I think it's like 500 bucks on the front end. He'll come in, fix your credit, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then he helps you get your lines of credit. In this case, 0% interest for
Mm-hmm.
12 to 18 months on
18
credit
months.
cards, which you can liquidate and use, but he'll get you up to $250,000 of funding.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like if you don't have $500, one, you're in a pretty bad spot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
but two, like to look at that and be like, wow, I just really have to overcome this small hurdle because you might have to pay the 500 bucks and maybe pay down some credit cards. So maybe you have to come up with a few $1,000s to really get that thing started. But is a few $1,000s worth missing out on 250 grand worth of funding?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Like,
You're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. It's that you wear it and everybody's looking at it really different. But just buying, as I said, and I can't say it enough, just talking to so many people from the Growth Co. and people that went through our Jesse's and Carlene mentorship, and I'm involved with the chats and insider group, and I see the growth of people, how they change totally the way they think. And then even if that's in itself, it's a small win. You're already winning because win is not only making $100,000 on a deal. It will get you there, but you have to have those small wins that your mind is open, that you see every challenge and every hurdle as a lesson. Okay, this didn't work out. How can we pivot from here? And this is something that I've just learned for the last 2 years, especially grown in the last year. It's like, wow, it's amazing. And what I can't control, heck, I don't really care about. So it's like I've decided I'm not, if I can't control it, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm only going to control and worry about what I can control. And it takes you know, listen, if I had to tell Miri 20 years ago, even, I don't even go 20 years ago, even, yeah, 20, okay, because 20, I would be what, 40, right? Even 40 when I was 40, I knew just smidge of what I know today. I would do different things to put me in a better position 20 after. But you know what? It's never too late. There's always things you can do. So I take care of my health so I can be, moving forward as long as I can because I love what I'm doing. So
Yeah, so you're gonna be kicking ass in another 20 years too.
yeah. So my goal is to have enough, create enough coming in the next 3 to 5 years that I can take time off anytime I want and still, I know, building my portfolio, doing my life insurance, and then just take time whenever I want. And when there's downtime, and there is, because you can't just travel 24/7 all the time. You just cannot. You get tired of
Hmm.
that too, I can promise you. So when you don't do all that, then you work and you do things you love. You're passionate, you give back, you help people. You don't have to get paid for it. You just help people. I mean, I love
So
that.
what does that look like? Miri's built her portfolio. She's got her cash flow goals. She's got her IUL. It's funded. What does Miri do with her time? What kind of
Okay.
causes does she get back to? Where she go?
There she
What's she
goes.
doing?
So first of all, I have a very big heart for human trafficking. Love, no, I don't love it. I mean, I love to be part of helping people that come out of it, nurture them, maybe provide housing for them, some kind of system to help. I think it's a huge need that we all try to hide behind, not even talk about it because it's just not comfortable. My middle daughter worked for a company that's what they did, human trafficking. And so that's something I love. And if I can be part of more like, like hands-on, not just, I would love that to put
Yeah.
some of my time. The other thing is I'm getting involved already. For a long time, my son and I went to the homeless shelters and really built relationship with them, fed them, cooked with them. It was really nice. We did it for a while, and I want my kid to do that because, it's very important to your children to see, how do you say, the ugly part of life. Life is not all beautiful. It is beautiful life, but there is so much pain and people suffering. So I like that, but we're not doing it anymore. But there's an organization that my friend started. It's for domestic violence. So women that comes out from domestic violence that we help. They come, most of them with children. So finding for them a place to live, helping them to get their life back. So I'm going to start helping on that organization to give at least. So the way it works, I'll be assigned a woman that needs, even she needs just somebody to listen to her, somebody she knows that somebody have her back and stuff like that, helping, maybe even going to, I don't need to do anything except just listen and help and, walk aside. So that's a cause that I really would love to be part. And I'm starting because I've decided, okay, I need to make time to give back. There's something that I don't have a lot of time. I can say that, but I can carve myself time to do that. So,
Hmm.
and I love to travel. I really do. There's a lot of places I would like still to go. So, and I would like to travel with my kids and girlfriends or whatever. Love doing that. So anywhere really. So
Hey, you gotta come down here. You'll eat
yes,
good.
I know. I need to. I have never been in Louisiana, right? Louisiana, right?
Yep, Louisiana.
Actually, we just looked at a deal in Louisiana, but I don't think the number works. I said, if we
That
would,
happens a lot, especially with the insurance.
yeah, I guess water, right? You guys have like a problem with you guys want
But
water.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, it
yeah.
wasn't that. It's just the number purely just did not work. Even before insurance, just didn't work. So, but yeah, Louisiana, I traveled quite a bit through across because we lived outside DC We traveled cross country a couple of times, different routes. So I've
Hmm.
been in most of the states, except the very, very, very north part, like the Dakotas. Thank you very much. I'm not going there.
I'm trying to convince Carlin to move over here because she said she really likes it here.
Who?
Carlin
Carly?
and James.
Yeah, but they moved, just moved to Florida.
I know. I tried to convince her. I was like, "You need to stop here." And she's like, "No." She's like, "We got, standing orders because he's still active duty." I was
Yeah.
like, "Fine, but when those are up, you're coming here." She's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I stayed with him last month.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, it was really fun. I went to Kentucky to visit my grandkids, and it was horrible weather. It was colder in Kentucky than in Utah, by the way. It was single digit. You remember that January cold that came? That was like a
Hmm.
cold front. So I caught that cold. Went to Florida. Florida was not warm either for a week. And then I went to North Carolina to visit a dear friend that lost her husband and visited her for a week. So that was cool too. It got warmer when I left. So as soon as I left, everything got warm. Kentucky got warm, Florida got warm, everything got warm.
Yeah, we had 12 inches of snow in New Orleans.
You kidding? Do you get
Swear to
snow?
God. No. I've seen snow twice in my lifetime, and both times it was like barely enough to like cover the grass.
Well, you know what? Actually, in Florida, in the Panhandle, they had
Mhm.
snow too. I don't know if you saw some stuff in the social media. It was really quite funny. They sled on canoes. Did you see that? They were
They
having
did it
canoes
here
and they were
too.
sled.
They did it here too. They were tying like ropes to the back of cars and they would get on skis and snowboards and stuff and just go down the street.
Oh my gosh, that's
People
funny.
do that here all the time. Like when it floods during hurricanes, they'll go wakeboarding or canoeing in the street. Like it's
Oh
wild.
my gosh, it is wild. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Florida is our unhinged cousin that is just as bad as we are.
I know. Yes, my mother-in-law live in Naples. It's really beautiful down there. So she's on the water on the canal, so we would go kayaking all the time. I love kayaking. It's so much fun. So,
Well, you gotta come here too. There's
no, I
plenty of
do. I
scenery.
really do. I do. I need to do that.
There's
Um,
plenty of scenery and there's plenty of good food.
okay. All right.
You
Yeah.
won't miss out on either.
Yeah, maybe I should come. Yeah, I need to. Well, in truth, I don't think I'm staying in Utah just because when my son is graduating, he's joining the Marines, and I'm not thrilled about it, but that's what he wanted to do. So in July, he's going to the Marines. So really, all our family, kids, everybody's east. So there is really, as much as I love Utah, the outdoor and everything, there's really no reason for me to stay here. I need to be closer to my grandkids. So, so we're gonna head out eventually, probably in the next year or so. So,
Yeah, you did say he's reaching right at that age.
yes, he's 17 and a half. He's graduating. We homeschooled him most of the years, except this year he did some dual. He wants to be an engineer, but he's decided to go to the Marines first. So not happy about it because I just didn't want my kids. I have another daughter serving, but not here. She's serving in my country. So it's hard. It's really hard, but they're great kids. They do what they love and they're very independent and I don't think I can ask for more. So
No, probably not. And like I said, when you come visit here, you can always hit me up because I'm the one that sets up the meetups.
oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's what usually I try to do when I go to places if I can find a meetup. There was one in North Carolina, but it wasn't very close. I was up in Raleigh and they had it in Charlotte. That's like 2.5 hours. So
Hmm.
unless I've stayed in Charlotte, it just doesn't make sense for me to drive 2.5 hours for meetup.
Nope, every third Friday.
Awesome. Awesome.
Every
Yeah,
third Friday, we got one
definitely.
going on here.
Yeah,
In
I
fact,
definitely will come. I just my next traveling is a wedding, an Indian wedding. Have you ever been in an Indian wedding?
I have not. I went to a Jewish wedding in Vegas, which was a first for me too.
You know I'm Jewish, right?
Yeah, I know, but that was what was interesting for me because like down here where we are, it's all French, so they're all Catholic. And
Okay.
I've only been to Catholic weddings. I remember standing there at the wedding and we were in like Red Rock Canyon in Vegas.
Okay.
And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, I don't know any of the words to this. Like this thing could go on for another hour, hour and a half. Like I have no idea where we are in the ceremony.
Oh, wow. Yes. Well, Jewish wedding, it really depends. The ceremony is not that long. It really depends on the rabbi and how they're doing it. Um, but I
It
never,
was probably
yeah,
about an hour before all of a sudden they said Mazel Tov, and I was like, okay, cool. Now I
Mazel
know where
tov.
we're at.
And they
Like we're
broke
at the
the,
end.
and they
Yeah, we're at
broke
the end.
the,
I know that part.
yes, yes. So, but Indian wedding, I've never been in Indian wedding, and I'm going to a real Indian wedding. When I say real, like they're all Indian, except the bride. I know that's where my friend's daughter, that she grew up with my kids. She's half Persian, half Austrian. Can you imagine? Very, very different. But she's getting married to an Indian guy, and they are doing a full-blown 3 days Indian wedding.
Oof, that sounds like a good time.
Yes, so I've decided I'm going to make everything possible. So that's in May, and then I go home with my son in June, right away after graduation. So that's my only two trips right now that it's on the calendar.
No squat up summit.
Yeah. And then when I come, how far are you from Kentucky? I'm trying to think of the map. Um,
I was in Kentucky in August. I went and visited a friend in Lexington.
Okay, so it's not
Um,
too far from my daughter is kind of like between you have Louisville and Lexington, they're just both like that, same. And then she's kind of in between. Um, so I know it's not far, it's like 2 hours from Nashville where she is. So it's not too bad from Nashville. But Louisiana, trying to
it's a
how,
good solid 12, 13 hour drive. I think it was
oh, okay.
11 to my friend where she was at.
Okay. So 11, okay. That's not too bad. So yeah, I don't mind driving actually, but I like to stop in places. I don't like, my husband always was one of those who from A to B. No, I need to see as much as I can, kind of in between. I love traveling, so I like road trip too. So definitely.
So talk to us a little bit too, because like bringing this back, right? Like you were
Mhm.
saying, this IUL can be really powerful as far as like providing all of these things. Like,
Mhm.
what does that look like? If I'm funding an IUL, how long am I looking at, or what percentage of funded am I looking at before I can start borrowing or maybe
Okay.
do anything with it?
Well, again, it really depends what you're putting it first. You really actually, in reality, people can fund it. Like, let's say somebody have $100,000, they actually can borrow almost immediately against it.
Hmm.
But you're not going to take 100 out, obviously. They want you the first year to take, so you take 70%. Kind of, this is general. Everybody's different. Let's say you have 100, you put 100, 70% is 70,000. They want you to take 65% out of the 70. Then you can take it and borrow against it. You can do it almost immediately if you have that kind of amount. Like when you listen to Pace thing, he actually shows his policy. He puts $300,000. So right away out of the back, he can probably take 180. The next year, he can take almost 250. So it really depends what you put. Of course, if you're only starting and only doing premium of 300, it's going to take you a minute. So you want to stay there for at least 2 years, have the matching. So the matching helps it to grow. And if you, again, as I said, every year you can add more premium. Let's say you did some lending, you did, as I said, fix and flip, and you earn another 10, 20. And that year you can dump it. So now it's like think about it, it's like adding gasoline to the fuel. So now, wow,
Hmm.
now it's really growing because every year you can match it. They'll match your different. If you If you're missing, they'll match it. So now you're having more. So, the idea is to get to, 50,000. So you can start taking maybe 30, 35, and then whatever money that you make, you can put it as a new premium year after. So it's really kind of like, it will definitely take you a couple years if you only start with minimum premium, if you don't have lump
Mhm.
sum. It will take some time, and that's okay too, you know? So,
Right, but ideally, you can put a lump sum in, you can borrow, call it like 60% against what you put
yes.
into it,
Uh-huh.
and then,
Hmm.
like we're saying in this space, right? Because the average returns on most PML deals right now are probably like 15 to 18%,
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
know? So you can go out and do that triple dip, you can go loan on it for
Exactly.
somebody else's real estate, like Ryan's in here. I could say, "Hey, Ryan, I'll loan, I put 80 in, maybe I can borrow, I don't know, like you said, 50, 60
Yeah.
against it. He needs 30 for his real estate deal. 15% of 30, you get that back. 15% of 30 is roughly, what's that?
45,
25, 24?
4,500,
Yeah,
right?
I
Uh-huh.
think so. About that. And then you can pour that back into the premium
Yeah, absolutely. And that's
and
that's
just
what you
keep
want to
funding
do.
it.
And you can add new premium every year, and it's just really like it grows fast. Again, you just need to be patient. Again, this is not for the faint heart. I want to, because when people think about the market, the crazy market, you can see people like shoots, wow, they make so much money, but it is a gambling for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. It is. But that's how your money you're gonna make. When it makes the market does very well, your money you want to make more very well. When it's not and it's losing, you're just in zero floor. And I cannot
Hmm.
emphasize how important that is. You are just saved yourself from years of trying to catch up for what you could have lost. So that's a huge benefit, totally a huge benefit. So yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like I said, it sounds like there's a ton of benefits here. There's not a whole lot of risks. There are still risks. You still have to do your homework just like anything else.
Mhm.
But this is probably a safer way to kind of more guarantee your retirement. Um,
Absolutely. And more, and
which
well, it's customs as well. You can customize it to your need, really. And it's really bottom line when you custom it to what you want is how much you're willing to put now so you can benefit you in 15 years. Because really, the more you put it front, the shorter time you're going to have that chunk of money. You can really do whatever you want. And then you really, in the end of the day, or in the end of those years that you decided you actually live on the interest, purely on the interest. That's it. It's grown so much that you're really living on the interest. And in the end of the day, when you pass, then whatever the insurance leverage gave you or borrowed to you, they take their own, and you have your kids or whoever you left the money, they have the leftover plus the life insurance. So,
Yeah, so really it solves a few problems, right? It sounds like it solves your retirement problem. It can solve your funding problem if you're trying to fund real estate.
yes,
And it can also solve, some form of a legacy or some form of an inheritance in order to
absolutely. Uh-huh.
really benefit your kids. Cause like we were saying earlier, right, with the cost of everything going up, with the taxes going up, with everything just being and inflation going up, it's harder and harder for you to work and save and trust the old school advice. It just doesn't work anymore. I can't save myself to $1 million because I
You
cut
can't.
out my
You really
lattes.
cannot. Mm-hmm.
There's no way.
No. People
Even
think that,
over my lifetime, call it 80 years, I might be able to save myself to $1 million then. But what's the likelihood of that? Not high.
no, no, it's honestly, I was just recording because we want to do a webinar once a month, my friend and I, to educate people. And so I was recording a little video, just a clip so people can know what they're coming to. And I really truly said, this is almost the first time in history the young generation can end up poorer than their parents, even though they are working harder in many cases and as well more educated. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
because the lack of education, what you can do, how with money, how you can grow it, how you can benefit it, how you can be secure. Because no matter what you do, and it's nothing wrong, people do crypto, they'll do this, do that, but if you have at least one thing that is solid, that is your foundation, that you can't go wrong, you really cannot go, and everything sprouts from there. you know, your investment, your lending, your whatever that business maybe that you buy, all it sits on that solid ground, really solid that you built. So that's
So we're gonna start to kind of tie this together. And one of the things before I forget, I want to make sure you have the chance to plug yourself. Where can people find you? How can they reach out to you if they want to have more conversations to get more resources for you from you on IULs?
so well, I'm in social media. I'm in Facebook, my name, Miri Cordaro, and as well in Instagram. I do a lot of social media about all of that. Um, and as well, we have a YouTube. Um, I want to always remember it's like so funny. I always forget what I call it. It's like wealth and real estate, I think. So I have tons. We have probably 30 almost videos that we did. Um, and it's a lot of really, it's not only real estate and stuff, it's just really finance. So we love to have guests in our podcast. So here it is. It's called we just did one, which is really nice. Why UL should be in your wealth growth toolbox. And we invited another member of our team in MPI that's been doing it probably longer than me and my partner, Caroline. And she's probably almost 10 years older than me. And she said she never wants to retire. She said, as
Hmm.
long as she can do this, she loves helping people building their future. So you can, where's my channel? Like I always get confused how to get there. I mean, I'm there. Here it is. So if you go to, it's my name, it's Real Estate and Finance, Your Wealthy Future, Miri Cordaro. You can find me there.
Beautiful.
And people can just, DM me, and I love talking to people, and then we can really dig into their own, scenario, what they want to achieve, and I do real illustration for them so they can see, okay, this is what I put, this is how it's going to grow, because we have enough data for the last 2 decades, 3 decades, what the market's been doing, so we can predict a little bit how it's going to go. So
Hmm.
so you're going to put this kind of money, and that is without even taking an account of, maybe you dump another 10 or 20 when you have it, without even a count. It can show you even just doing the regular what it's going to look like. So you have kind of a visual. And you know what? I think when people see that, they have something, it's like they have something to work for, you know? It's like a goal. Like, okay,
Yeah.
love it. At 50, at 60, I'm going to have enough money coming in. Awesome. Then I can do whatever, any side hustle I want, or even, work part-time, my job, or, business that I want to buy or whatever. And half of the time travel because I have enough money coming. I don't have to worry about it. And I don't have to do, honey, I shrunk my life. Did you ever see in that movie, Honey, I Shrunk the School, or
Oh, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah.
and the kids, exactly. I feel like this is what a lot of financial advisor says. Oh, by that time you're going to be okay. Yeah, well, no, I'm not going to be okay unless I shrink my life totally, shrink it, make it really small and tight. Then I can do it. But that's the idea is not. I don't want to shrink my life. I,
Right.
you know,
Especially since your property taxes aren't going down, your utilities aren't going down, the things that are required for you to sustain are not going down.
I
You
know.
can shrink and shrink and shrink, but I call it death by optimization. You can only shrink to a certain point.
Mhm.
Like you could run the tightest schedule down to the second, doesn't matter. Like, you're just killing yourself with extra
Yeah,
stress. There's no
exactly.
tolerance.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's nice to know that you have something that it's secure. You know you're going to get it, and you don't, and you're not going to put money. You don't have to put money for 30 years. It's not. I mean, certain time you can stop and let it just grow by itself.
Mhm.
After 14 years, 15, you're done. You don't have to. You really don't. But it makes sense sometimes if you have cash, why would you not put it there, growing even more faster than put it in the bank so the bank can just make more money on you. So yeah.
Makes sense to me. And one of so the final question, I ask this of everybody, I never really get the same answer, is you're sitting across the table from a brand new investor. What is the one piece of advice that you would give them that you wish you had?
Okay, so it's a couple thing I think. I mean, not only one advice. First of all, not to rush. I mean, I know we get in and we want to do everything. We have this, shiny object syndrome, which I think we all been there. Oh, I mean, it just doesn't not. It's just comes with the territory. So just to take a deep breath and explore. Now, financially, if you have some money, I would suggest you start with IUL because you have kind of a big ground, solid to put your money. So as you're learning and you can grow. And if you don't, just start one. Especially if you're young, just start one. Just really start one. I mean, the hardest thing as I think is to start and just
Mhm.
explore, really explore. I mean, I wish I explored more. I probably would not lost huge amount of money in the stupid deal that we did with a con artist. You know what I mean? Literally ripped us off and stole money, and it was so hard to recoup it. Just
Mhm.
really not worried because everybody wants to make money. Don't. It's better just. And I'm not saying don't take action. Take action. Plug yourself to people that already do what maybe you think. Because some people tell me, "Oh, I want to fix and flip." They never fix and flip. They start, "Oh, I hate this." You don't know what you're going to like. You need to kind of, if you think you're going to like it, plug yourself with somebody. Give something that you can give to people. If you don't have the
Mhm.
money, give them time, learn from them, help. And then you learn what you really, really, really like. And again, it really depends on the resources. Some people have money, some people have knowledge, some people have time. It depends what you have. Really use the resource that you have and find other people that have other resources and learn from them. And then, start moving towards what you think you want to do. But I truly believe that having some foundation that everything can sprout out of it, like IUL, that it's a infinite banking, better than to have your money in the bank. So
Definitely.
that's my advice. That's what I tell my kids. So I'm giving advice what I would tell to my children. And here I got my kids starting. Two of them put money for 6 months in multifamily that they're gonna make almost 20%. So you and it's because my experience now. So they kind of piggyback on my experience. So, and that's what you want. You know, you can find somebody. Not everybody's willing, but you'll find somebody. So,
Yeah.
or come to our growth code community. We have amazing people there. Everybody wants to help and growth, and we all want it. We believe that it's our other people growth is really a mission. We want to see people winning because we really believe that if you win, we win. So,
Yes.
and,
I can agree with that.
yeah, and
All right, guys. Well, we will definitely have to have Miri back on. And if you really want to look into the IUL, especially with the MPI strategy, she's an amazing resource and just a fun person to talk to.
Mhm.
So definitely reach out to her, whether it be on socials or through anything else, any other funnels or websites you want to plug before we go.
I don't have a website. I'm going to work on one that I would like to kind of send people there. I'm working on one. I don't have one right now, but social, it's easy. You can find me easy. Miri Cordaro. I go by my name.
Yeah.
So
So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
mhm. Yep.
And guys, y'all know how we do. This was a special one. We did this on a Wednesday night. Normally we do them every single Sunday afternoon, 4 to 6. So that way people can come, they can ask questions, and they can get good info. So the only thing that we ask is if you find value in it, that you know, like, share, comment, if that you bring a friend next time. So until then, we will see everybody later.
Thank you, Adam.